This is what we're seeing throughout the house right now, just complete ashes for everything. It was destroyed. Now, I'm not going to step inside of it just because we don't know the structural integrity of it right now, but I am going to have my photographer kind of pan around to show you what we can see. This is actually a tombstone that's completely submerged in water. There's another one right here that I can't even make out myself. Right now, as I'm here, I'm seeing 2 more police cars arrive on the scene, just kind of giving you an idea that the fact that this is still a very active scene. The initial call came in to 911 around 2 o'clock today with those students saying that they were stranded at the top of the mountain. So the students are right here at these 2 antennas on top of Franklin Mountain. The path they're going to have to take is about 1 mile to 1.5 miles to this right here. There, they will be met with Polaris mountain vehicles. The Polaris mountain vehicles will take them over to this antenna right over here, and that will bring them safely down the mountain. Now, one of the problems that I found while we were trying to pick up a couple of these plastic bags is that these bushes have very sharp thorns on them, and even when you try to get the bags away, cleanup is very, very difficult. It is the news that no parent wants to hear. Children here at Eastwood Heights Elementary School were sent home with a letter today from the district telling parents that one of their students has passed away. What police have told us at this point is that it all stems back to a fight that started in that bar and ended here in this parking lot. The dirt here has actually been turned to mud, and a lot of that mud has been pushed down Schuster Avenue around downtown in the Sunset Heights area. We saw a lot of debris on the streets, meaning that once this storm finally passes through our area, there's definitely going to need to be some cleanup underway. For the average resident, this is how much EPWU raised rates last year to fund stormwater projects like this retention pond in central El Paso. They want to raise rates by just about the same amount this year. Just a few hours ago, hundreds of people packed this gymnasium here at Picacho Middle School for the chance to hear Bill Clinton speak. Now, as you said, this speech is part of their last-ditch attempt in order to sway voters' opinions before they head to the polls in 6 states. Shelton, that police press conference wrapped up just a few moments ago, and police identified 28-year-old Irving Jose Marquez as the suspect. So I figured I'd try one out for myself to see if I have any luck tonight. Let's see. There you go.
Unbelievable, hard to believe something around here in this neighborhood.
It took only a few minutes for this central El Paso house to go up in flames.
I saw some smoke and then started hearing the sirens.
Neighbors stood by and watched as fire and smoke billowed from the upstairs window.
I live right next door. My girlfriend called me. I was at my parents' house. She said the house is on fire. And so I kind of didn't believe her at first.
Some took video as crews began to battle the blaze. Others prayed that the fire wouldn't spread to their homes.
Lucky there was no wind, or it would have caught the palm trees and it would have caught my apartment.
The house was supposed to be abandoned, but
the firefighters proceeded in, started fighting the fire, and at the same time looking for people inside. They found a woman.
That woman was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries.
We didn't think nobody was in there.
Neighbors say this house has been empty for as long as they can remember.
I mean, you're talking about over 10 years now.
The downstairs windows are even boarded up, but that didn't stop people from breaking in.
They go through a window, they break a window or something, but they keep boarding it up.
Now, investigators are trying to determine what caused this fire in the first place.
They're going to first try to determine where it originated. And then once they do that, then they'll start looking for forensic evidence about what might have caused it.
Take a drive around downtown El Paso or the west side, and you'll see orange barrels on many streets. But while some roads are expanding to accommodate driver demand, one northeast El Paso street is crumbling.
They've apparently forgotten about that section of road.
He's talking about this 1-mile stretch of McCombs that runs right through the state line.
It does seem like it's been forgotten.
Carl Wagner says he's been trying to get someone out here to repair the road for months.
I called El Paso. They said we don't own it. So I called El Paso County. They don't own it. I even called Hudspeth County. They don't own it.
The answer is a little complicated. The line of responsibility for this stretch of McCombs is practically drawn in the asphalt. On this side of the street, TxDOT is responsible for maintaining and repairing all of this stretch of McCombs. If you take 2 steps over this way, the city of El Paso is now responsible for fixing any potholes or bumps along the road. Once you cross the New Mexico state line, the road is completely repaved.
And all over town, I mean, they're redoing all these other streets, and that stretch of McCombs they do nothing about.
Joseph Compton has also been complaining about it.
They don't care.
Both men have seen Cruz periodically, but want the road completely repaved.
Rather than do a total repair on it, they're putting Band-Aids on the situation.
They say this pothole-riddled road could be bad for El Paso's bottom line.
There are over 25,000 people in Chaparral, probably 99% of whom conduct all of their business in El Paso.
We spend almost all of our money in your city.
Why they can't give us that much consideration, I don't understand.
Whataburger.
At 80 years old, Eddie Johnson is a creature of habit.
You know what I want, I guess.
Every day he gets up, puts on his iconic cowboy hat, and heads to the same restaurant for breakfast.
That's okay, it's time to go to Whataburger, because I'm hungry.
Following this routine religiously for years.
How can I help you? $12.87 is your change.
Even ordering the same meal each time.
It's a bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit. Excuse me, I'm going to feed my face, okay?
Part of his reason for coming here is practical.
Because I'm a lousy cook. It boils down to that.
But there's something else most people don't know about Eddie.
I miss her every day, and I guess I will, as long as I breathe.
He's a recent widower.
Since my wife died, I get kind of lonesome, so it's another reason for coming here.
Eddie's wife of 59 years, Lola, died last April.
She's my soulmate.
Eddie still misses her.
Like two peas from the same pod.
Still says she's the reason he breathes.
We did everything together. There was no way that we could love each other more than we did.
And while the love of his life is gone, Eddie has found a new family.
It's not like coming to a restaurant. It's just like coming to have breakfast with friends.
This week, when Eddie's fast food family found out he was turning 80, they decided to do something special for their #1 customer.
We thought it'd be a great opportunity to celebrate with them, so we surprised them with a cake.
When they came around and started singing happy birthday, the whole crew, and everybody started taking pictures, and I said, oh, hey, I'm 80 years old. I'm not used to this,
That small act of kindness has gone viral.
I'm beyond grateful for them.
Being liked more than 71,000 times on his granddaughter Emma's Twitter.
I just got the link from a online blog from Ireland that's talking about it.
Emma says her granddad didn't know much about that social media platform before.
I had to explain the concept of Twitter. Like, if you just say retweets and likes and quotes and stuff, it gets a little lost.
He still doesn't quite understand why people are paying attention.
Who cares about an old 80-year-old man,
But both are thankful for the friendship this restaurant has provided.
It's really nice that he has another family to take him in and take care of him while we are unavailable.
As for Whataburger,
Your outfit's right.
they say they just want Eddie to know he's always welcome here.
I think everybody needs to know that there's someone there who cares.
Meghan Lopez,
I love the food.
CBS 4 at 10. 'Twas 2 weeks before Christmas, and at Cielo Vista Mall,
Parking here is horrible.
not a parking spot to be found. None at all.
I think you spend more time looking for parking than actually spending in a store.
Shoppers carried bags from here to there,
Just started, but we've gotten pretty much 75% done.
while St. Nick settled down in his big red chair.
I want Sonic from Lego Dimensions too.
Some shoppers were happy, others not so much. All of them partaking in the holiday shopping rush.
Well, it's been really busy. It's starting to pick up. After this weekend, I think it's going to get really crazy.
Left and right, retailers offer deals galore.
So we have a lot of buy one, get the other one free throughout the store.
Helping their patrons pay less for more.
That's pretty much one of the hot items that people are asking, where are the ugly Christmas sweaters? We had some that even had lights on it.
The children say they've already sent Santa a letter.
What are you looking for Christmas?
A phone.
A phone? Wow. Santa must be real generous this year, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of a phone?
Any phone.
Just any phone. Does it have to be a smartphone?
A smartphone.
Maybe like a rotary? Do you know what rotaries are?
No.
No? They're the dial. Never mind.
They promise that this year they will be better.
Have you been good enough for a phone?
I'd say no, because I got something bad in math.
They're not on the good list, but they're getting there. They have room for improvement.
And as the shoppers drove out of sight,
That's okay, don't wait till the last minute.
many said they're leaving with a gift that's just right.
I found exactly what she wanted.
They They gathered at Bel Air High School. Family and friends of Ruby Rodriguez came together to remember the mother of two.
I'm Ruby's aunt, and on behalf of all the family, we'd like to thank everybody for your support, for loving Ruby so much.
Some wore t-shirts with Ruby's picture on the front. Others had purple ribbons for domestic violence awareness. Front and center, Ruby's family, silent and solemn, their tears flowing freely. Ruby's eldest daughter, who in many ways is still processing the family's profound loss, spoke first.
Me and my sister would like to thank you for coming and thank you for all of your support.
She talked about the love her mother projected.
She had a big heart. She loved everyone.
And said she knows where her mom is.
We miss her. I hope she is good in heaven.
And when there were no words, the family let the music do the talking. Leaving messages on balloons for Ruby and then releasing them into the air, hoping somehow, some way, those messages will make it to her. And at the end, a promise to all of those who attended.
Her daughters are going to be very well taken care of, and that is also partly thanks to everybody who donated so many things for them.
We all get frightened. We all get stressed.
They stood at the base of the Franklin Mountains for hours. Socorro Middle School parents huddled around in groups, waiting for their children to descend. The teacher told me they were stuck at the top because something mechanical happened with the tram, Cruz Bragas told me. A field trip up the Weiler Aerial Tramway turned into quite the adventure this afternoon when the tramway broke down and students were first forced to hike part of the mountain down.
The hike was easy.
Before jumping into all-terrain vehicles to ride down to the base.
The vehicles, they were bumpy.
A few parents even brought binoculars, just trying to catch a glimpse of their child safely descending the mountain. I was scared as a mother, Cruz said. Some had already spoken to their children. I spoke with my son and he said they were still up there, Cruz told me. A generation so entwined in technology was able to give their parents peace of mind by calling, tweeting, and texting every step of their journey down to the base. Thank God everything is okay, and I already spoke with my son, and he's good, and everything's fine, Cruz said. But even after speaking with her son, Cruz says she's still a little nervous about that hike. She watched as one by one groups of students made their way down the mountain. Each time, she got her hopes up that her son was in that group. And each time her heart fell as she watched other families reunite with their children, while hers was still stranded on the mountain. So she waited, and she watched, and she prayed that the next group would have her son. I'm trying to imagine my son going down that mountain, and I don't know, Cruz said, until finally that moment came when she was reunited with her 12-year-old. All she wanted was to embrace him, but her son Gustavo is a preteen after all, and hugging your mom on camera isn't exactly cool.
Hello, how are you doing?
After a roundtable discussion with the Borderplex Alliance today, Senator Ted Cruz laid out 4 things he believes could stimulate the Texas economy.
If we deliver on those 4 priorities, Obamacare, tax reform, regulatory reform in the Supreme Court, 2017 will be an epic blockbuster year. This could be the most productive Congress in decades.
But nowhere on that list was mention of immigration reform or President Trump's plan to build a border wall. So we asked.
I have long supported a border wall.
Then I asked Senator Cruz about the economic implications the border wall could have on trade with Mexico.
A lot of people say that the border wall is going to help, but people here in El Paso are very critical about that and what it's going to do to trade with Mexico.
Not once, but twice.
Do you think there's any downfalls to the border wall in terms of the message it sends to Mexico and trade?
And twice, Senator Cruz dodged the question.
Walls work. Countries all over the world have walls on their borders.
Cruz claims a wall already exists.
You have wall constructed here in El Paso that helps keep El Paso safe.
But he didn't specify what he meant. Even without a wall, Cruz said illegal immigration is down.
In just the first few months of this administration, illegal immigration has dropped over 60%.
And he's hoping for new ways to work with Mexico on trade.
What I hope will happen in the renegotiation of NAFTA is that the administration will focus on opening foreign markets, opening Mexican markets.
People like good mysteries, and this case is a prime example of that.
It's the mystery that has perplexed police and captivated the El Paso community for 6 decades.
What happened to them? At this point, we just don't know.
On March 6, 1957, William and Margaret Patterson went missing from their central El Paso home. They were never heard from again.
And the question then is, did they intentionally and voluntarily leave? Was it their choice, or did some sort of foul play come into the case?
Pattersons were living the American dream. They ran Patterson Photo Supply in downtown El Paso, where this parking lot now stands. William loved boats.
Mr. Patterson did a lot of fishing, deep sea fishing in Mexico and in Florida.
Margaret loved her cat.
The cat went everywhere with her.
Average in every way until they went missing from this house on Piedmont Street.
It is one of those cases that drew a lot of interest in El Paso and still continues to draw interest.
The El Paso Police Department, Sheriff's Office, and FBI have all worked on the case for 6 decades. Most recently, the case ended up in the hands of Sergeant James Belknap.
Cold case investigations take a lot of time. A lot of resources, a lot of manpower.
Plenty of theories have popped up explaining what may have happened.
There was some information originally in 1957 that they had taken off on an extended vacation. They did travel frequently.
Some say it was a UFO abduction or murder. There were even theories that they were Russian spies.
And he was called back to Russia, or they were taken back to Russia and killed.
Entire articles were dedicated to Tommy the cat, who was left behind.
And so I'm sure that spurred kind of a lot of questions as to whether or not she would willingly leave it.
Right. And like I said, the answer to that, we don't know.
Adding to the mystery,
there had been several reported sightings.
But Sergeant Belknap says only one fact is certain.
Up till today, there has still been no contact with either Mr. or Mrs. Patterson.
Law enforcement agencies reopened the Patterson case at least 3 times in 1984, 2005, and 2011.
As recently as 2 months ago, we had been contacted with some information. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out.
Cold cases pose their own set of challenges. First, the evidence.
There are a lot of things that we can do now that were just unheard of 50, 60 years ago.
Things like DNA testing and fingerprint analysis. But the couple wasn't reported missing until 6 months after their disappearance, making evidence difficult to come by.
Javier Zambrano with Crime Stoppers of El Paso says technology is another major hurdle.
If we think about it, 1957, we didn't have surveillance cameras in most businesses. We did not have cell phones as important as it is now.
Or a lack of technology.
Even a driver's license from those times, many of them did not involve a picture.
Then there's the witnesses.
For the Patterson case, how many witnesses do you guys kind of still have around and alive? Is it many?
No.
But there are other theories about what happened to the couple.
We believe that spirits give off EMF, and feed off of EMF.
I had always believed in the paranormal. We've all had our own experiences, and I think we're trying to figure out what's really out there.
Juarez says she doesn't have all of the answers.
Someone to go lights out. Is there anybody here who would like to come forward and speak with us?
We try to debunk as much as we can.
But she believes the couple's old house is haunted, possibly by the Pattersons.
We can't really make that assumption that it was them. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't.
Juarez went into the Patterson house with a tape recorder years ago.
And there are sections where there's a woman's voice who was not there. There's a scream that we did not hear at the time. I don't know what that was.
The current owner of the Patterson house doesn't buy it. He didn't want to talk to us on camera, but says he's owned the old Patterson house for the past 20 years and hasn't experienced any paranormal activity. But Juarez believes the house may still hold some answers. She wants to take her recording equipment back into the home to conduct an electronic voice phenomena, or EVP, session.
I'd like to know what happened to him.
60 years gone by.
Do you think we're ever going to kind of have an answer to this case?
I remain hopeful.
But police are still searching for answers.
Sometimes the smallest little bit of information, maybe their grandparent or their parent maybe shared some information that they had, and they just remember hearing this story. That information could be the key.
So they keep searching, knowing it's unlikely that this case will ever be solved. Meghan Lopez, KFOX 14 News at 9.